if you read what's out of the New York Times, it's such a dishonest newspaper. It's such garbage. It's, it used to be called all the news that's fit to print. Well, it's all the news that's not fit to print. They have fake sources, or they don't have sources. I think they make most of it up. But this was a made-up story by the New York Times. I call it the failing. It's a failing newspaper. It's failing. And they shouldn't do that. They really are the enemy of the people.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here. And they say a free press is the cornerstone of democracy. So what the hell do you call it when a wannabe dictator like Donald Trump starts calling the press the enemy of the people and openly talks about shutting them down?
We do need honest journalism in this. We've made such big strides over the last 2 months. But we just need honest journalism, and we don't have it. When you have a CNN, you have to watch these people every once in a while just to see where they're coming from, and it's so dishonest. MSNBC is, I think, probably worse, and they're both doing horribly in the ratings. I think they're going to be turned off. I don't think they're not doing any ratings. You're doing well in the ratings.
That's not politics. That's fascism. And this week, Bernie Sanders called it like it is.
In our form of government, unless you are a coward, you don't sue the media because they report on things you don't like. You don't sue the Des Moines Register because they did a poll whose results you don't like. In the democratic society, we understand that criticism and debate is what makes this country great. And unless you are a coward like Trump is, you welcome that debate and that discussion.
Only a coward sues the media for reporting things that they don't like. That's what Bernie Sanders said. Right to the damn point, and he's right. Trump isn't strong. He's a bully. He's terrified of the truth. That's why he throws tantrums every single time that someone dares to call him out. While Trump's running his mouth and blaming everyone but himself, Bernie and AOC are out there packing stadiums. We're talking tens of thousands of working class Americans showing up. Not for celebrity nonsense, not for billionaire worship, but because they're fed up. Because someone is finally telling the damn truth.
I want you to look at every level of office around and support brawlers who fight, because those are the ones who can actually win against Republicans. Let's be real about that.
Brawlers. I assume you approve this message.
100%. Absolutely. Democrats are in a crisis right now. They're on life support. They have a testicular fortitude problem. They are not fighting nearly as hard as they need to fight for the American people. Democrats have fighters. Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Ayanna Pressley, the whole squad, Greg Casar, Pramila Jayapal, and governors and mayors across the country are fighters. But we need some of the OGs in the party to elevate, uplift the younger people and take a step back.
Do they need to step aside?
Or step aside, because we need to hear new, fresh, bold voices. That's what the American people want. And if the party doesn't do that, the party is about to be finished.
Trump sat in the White House last Friday next to Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and went on one of his classic unhinged roller coaster rants. It was supposed to be an announcement about a new F-47 fighter jet, but it turned into a full-on therapy session for a man obsessed with cable news and imaginary enemies. Trump spiraled into one of his usual rants about fake news, calling CNN and MSNBC dishonest, whining about the New York Times, and declaring with a straight face that those networks are going to be turned off. Yeah, you heard that right. Trump is saying major news outlets should be turned off. Not disagreed with, not fact-checked, eliminated. That's not tough talk. That's authoritarian propaganda. That's what you hear from dictators, not democracies. He says MSNBC and CNN are failing, but he's out here giving press conferences with the enthusiasm of a cornered raccoon. While Bernie Sanders just drew the biggest crowd of his entire political career in Denver, 34,000 people, tens of thousands more across Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado, overflow crowds, packed venues, lines stretching for hours. If anyone's getting turned off, Donald, it's you. The American people are flipping the channel. This is where Bernie dropped the hammer. In our form of government, unless you are a coward, you don't sue the media because they report on things that you don't like. That's not a metaphor. That's not a debate point. That is straight up diagnosis of what Donald Trump is, a coward, a man who runs from the truth but throws lawsuits at anyone who prints it. He sued the Des Moines Register over a poll that he didn't like, a poll. He sues reporters for quoting him word for word. He lashes out at journalists who ask basic questions, and when a court rules against him, he wants the judge impeached. That's not strength. That's weakness in a red tie. Because here's the thing. In a democracy, you don't get to sue your way out of accountability. You don't get to erase facts just because they hurt your feelings. You don't try to cancel newspapers like a spoiled little brat with a Twitter addiction. Bernie laid it out plain. Debate and criticism. That's what makes this country great. Trump doesn't want any of that. He wants blind loyalty. He wants praise. And when he doesn't get it, he sues. He cries. He blames. That's not leadership. That's a tantrum. Only a coward does that. And that's exactly what Donald Trump is. While Trump's busy whining about polls and screaming at reporters, Bernie and AOC are out on the road, standing shoulder to shoulder with the people that Donald Trump keeps trying to silence. This was the case in Greeley, Colorado, a city of just over 100,000 people, and it's reported that more than 16,000 showed up to the University of Northern Colorado. Lines formed hours before the doors opened. Overflow crowds had to watch on big screens outside. You don't get that kind of turnout unless folks are fired the hell up. And inside, you had real people. A mother telling her story, driving her 3 kids hundreds of miles every couple of months just to access the medical care that they've been denied by the broken system. She didn't ask for sympathy. She dared every lawmaker ignoring her to spend 1 week in her shoes. You had educators in Arizona, workers in Las Vegas, people who knew firsthand what it's like to be sacrificed for profit margins. And then came Denver, 34,000 people. Bernie's biggest rally ever. Let that sink in. After decades in politics, after multiple presidential runs, it was now on this tour, in this fight, that he drew the biggest crowd in his life. Because people aren't just angry. They're done being told to wait. They're done being lied to by billionaires, gaslit by cowards, and ignored by politicians who haven't shown up for months, like Gabe Evans in Colorado District 8 and Lauren Boebert in Colorado District 4. That's what this tour is about. Not just fighting oligarchy, but not just calling out authoritarianism. It's about turning up the volume on voices the system keeps trying to mute. And the people, they're not just listening, they're roaring. Now, while all that was happening, while 34,000 people were chanting and organizing and calling out the billionaires, a very different kind of meeting was going down in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump was in the White House, standing next to Pete Hegseth, announcing some shiny new F-47 jet and rambling about how great everything is. But right underneath that announcement, a bombshell. The New York Times reported that Elon Musk, yes, the same guy who's been gutting worker protections, spouting conspiracy garbage, and kissing up to dictators, was being briefed by the Pentagon on a potential war with China. Let's stop right there. Why the hell is Elon Musk being briefed on war? He's not a general. He's not an elected official. He's a billionaire with business ties to China, control over satellite infrastructure, and zero accountability to the American people. Hegseth tried to play it off. Oh no, it was just about Doge. Right. A meeting between one of the richest men in the world and top Pentagon officials just so they could talk crypto means? Yeah, Trump called the story fake news, of course, claimed it was all made up, but then he confirmed Musk met with the Pentagon. That's Trump in a nutshell. Deny, deflect, contradict yourself in the same breath, and call it victory. But here's what matters. While Trump is throwing tantrums and about CNN and MSNBC, he's given billionaires access to war rooms. While he's calling journalists the enemy, he's literally welcoming oligarchs into the halls of military power. This isn't about fake news. It's about a fake leader, a coward, a man so obsessed with control, he's willing to silence the press, sue pollsters, and hand over the steering wheel to the richest guy in the room. So let's end it where it began. Bernie Sanders stood in front of thousands of people, not donors, not lobbyists, people. And he said what the rest of this country's been screaming out loud. Only a coward sues the media because they report on things that you don't like. And he's not wrong. Trump's not strong. He's scared. Scared of the truth. Scared of the people. Scared of the movement that's rising against him. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way. Airborne all the way.